we have another semi-MCU related story. It's kind of tied to the reaction to Captain Marvel and the fact that a whole bunch of people went on Captain Marvel's Rotten Tomatoes page, and in a sense, they kind of spammed it. Without having seen the movie, they wrote all these negative comments about it, and now today we get this announcement from Rotten Tomatoes that they're rolling out a new initiative, and it's aimed at elevating the voice of fans and increasing data relevance. But one of the biggest changes here is clearly tied to the whole Captain Marvel thing, and it is changing the way they operate their audience system, the audience voting system. So today they announced that one of the new things they're doing, at least, is removing the option for fans to leave comments or reviews on a movie before its release. It kind of seems like a no-brainer to me, but I'm also trying to, I'm attempting to picture the flip side of it, someone wanting to react and voice either excitement or the lack thereof of a movie before it comes out. But given the fact that, toxicity in that comment section has kind of spiraled out of control, I think this needed to happen, and I think this was probably the best possible move for them to make.
Okay, first off, this needed to happen. No, it didn't. It certainly didn't need to happen. And there are 3 points which you pointed out in this paranumeroff. And you said it was elevating voices, yet it's censoring voices. And I'm also going to touch on this. I believe it will be rather more fitting in the next video. But they're deleting user reviews right now as well. So how is it elevating voices at all? And this is spamming. Okay. How is it spamming that people don't want to watch a movie? Second of all, you have to prove it. You can't. You just can't. And this statement that it is a no-brainer, quote-unquote, a no-brainer. How? Because people like Collider, I've made 3 videos now on John Campea being a shill, being in the bubble, because John Campea, I used to run and be on Collider, but also used to be AMC Movie Talk, and it is quite ironic that these same people that are reviewing movies have the exact same view, even though he's not there anymore. They have the exact same view. These are NPCs. They have the exact same views on things. I don't even need to listen to their review to understand, because I know they're gonna say it's an awesome movie, but it has its flaws. It's a boring action. It's a boring story, but it's an awesome movie. You have to watch it because it has a female in it. So when it comes to Collider and these people, I just can't stand when they have garbage opinions like these and look down on everyone else trying to voice their opinion, but they're not as valid. It's quite ironic.
So, Coy, given what has happened recently, and also with other films in, I would say, the past 2 years is when this problem started to crop up consistently, is taking this feature, this specific feature away, the way to combat it best?
To me, this seems impossibly fair. Press is embargoed. Everyone is embargoed. Why would you not have that for the largest site of movie, just flash perspective? People use Rotten Tomatoes scores as litmus tests for whether or not they're going to see a movie, so why wouldn't you have that barometer for the everyday civilian? Like, we're told we can't say things. Why would a fan that has or hasn't seen something be able to say something? Like, it's very specific, and the anonymity of the internet makes it really hard, because like Jedbob674 can write whatever he wants to, and then we say it online and we're accountable because we're on video. People know us, people know our Twitters, those blue check marks, they count for something. Whereas the fan side, it's great to build up hype, it's great to build up awareness, all of those things, but there's no way to prove they saw the movie. Whether you love a movie or hate it, it's not fair to be speaking on it if you haven't seen it. And I think Captain Marvel's really coming to a head because there's been so much toxicity around this fandom in particular, and the nerd fandoms like the Star Wars fandoms and certain things, there's an animosity towards the other side side that isn't always warranted, and taking it out on a movie, especially if you haven't seen it, isn't fair. And this negates that ever being an option, in my opinion. So once the movie drops, have the critics' reviews pop up, have the fan reviews pop up, so it's a universal like flash of this is the information. It's all been vetted to a point as much as you can, and now we've got a fairer system.
Really, that's a more fair system when now they're removing sad user reviews even after the movie has come out. That is quite so frustrating for these people to say this garbage. Now there are some points. So they said this happened in the last 2 years. What came out the last 2 years? Now we're a little bit into 2019, but what I think they mean is Ghostbusters 2016. And the same media called fans telling they don't want this. Hell, they went after that Rolf guy who is in the nostalgia critic. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head. And they called him basically a misogynist for not wanting to see a movie. How does that make sense at all? He just politely said, I rather want to watch a movie that or watch the old ones and watch those movies instead of this new one, which I think is going to be bad. And this is impossibly fair, really. You're the arbiter of that, are you? You sit and get thousands of views. You are well known. You have that blue check mark on Twitter, probably, and you get to go on all of these events for free. You don't pay for this. You get paid for writing this, yeah, and we are the ones who have to shut up. Why? What is the embargo? Why are you conflating that these are reviews? These are not reviews. These are people who just wanted to see a movie, and you conflating that these are reviews. The stupidity of this guy. Holy crap. And this is the guy who took over from John Schnapp at Collider. It's astonishing that they let someone so incompetent take over. And what does this have to do with anything by using embargo? Well, embargo are actually reviews. The only thing people said they don't want to see this. And it's quite ironic that you use toxicity and Star Wars. You use the same playbook when it comes to games, when it comes to comic books, when it comes to movies. Star Wars fans didn't like The Last Jedi. Get over it. Why can't you people accept that people didn't like it? No, you have to bash the fans because you're such shills. This is basically an advert for Disney. And they reap the benefits. I just made a video about a journalist admitting to that they play softball and give good reviews. Why should we listen to these people and they are given these platforms and the access, yet they always give good PR to Disney? This is a garbage opinion.
All right.
That's a tough act to follow. I thought Coy just nailed it. He was very eloquent about the whole thing. I mean, I think that Rotten Tomatoes really had no choice. They had to do something. They're partners with the studios, and I'm sure I can imagine that Disney or Marvel were complaining because people go on Rotten Tomatoes, as you said, to buy tickets to sort of gauge whether they should see a movie, and it's not fair to have this like low score discouraging people that isn't even a valid score because other people don't know that. They don't know that the page is being trolled, by these horrible people who did the same thing to Ghostbusters, and it seems like it cost that movie too at the box office. So I'm glad that Rotten Tomatoes is doing this. I just think that the public needs to re-educate itself to an extent where they're not even going to Rotten Tomatoes to look at that stuff. Find a critic, find someone who you trust, you trust their taste, and grow with them. Because I don't like boiling it down to a score either, and if I did, I prefer Metacritic to Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't like boiling it down to a score either, but it seems like a losing battle there with, you know, the population at large. And I totally understand why, because if you are maybe thinking about spending money on going to see a movie right this second and you need just the quickest reasoning to decide between, let's say, two of them, seeing that score is super helpful. It's just more so than anything, I encourage people to look at the fact that that score is one thing, but when you look at the average score for all of the critics, that is a much more valuable thing, because you could have a movie at, let's say, a 99% where everybody said it was just a 6 out of 10, but you're looking at that 99, maybe thinking it's a masterpiece. So looking at the average, I think, is super helpful.
Again, with the same arguments, they had no choice. Of course they had a choice. They had a choice to not listen to the pressure of Disney and these journalists. And he says, it is not fair discouraging people. What the hell does that even mean? Who is discouraging? If you want to watch the movie, go and watch the movie. Nobody's stopping you. And if let's use the scenario they used. So if someone goes to Rotten Tomatoes and saw the score, only 26% wants to see the movie. Maybe read a few comments. Maybe you should watch the trailer and decide for yourself. Maybe you should look at more videos if you're really interested. Otherwise, if you just like the trailer, go and watch it. Nobody's stopping anyone. No one's discouraging anyone. What I see with the fandom menace within this community is that people are just pissed off of what they're doing with the propaganda and the shilling, and they don't even realize this. And this function is being trolled. How? Citation needed. They're horrible people. Well, that's really rich coming from these people bashing on fans. It really pisses me the hell off. They're so self-righteous and morally superior to everyone else. So anyone who doesn't like what is going on with the trailers and what Brie Larson is saying are just trolls. Man, screw you. And again, the moral self-righteousness, the public needs to re-educate themselves. This is the most NPC SJW sentiment I know, or argument, is, oh, you just have to educate yourself. Why don't you go to college and take a gender studies degree? This is what it sounds like. It's so pretentious. And how does the 1 to C score relate to the reviews? Again, this guy does the exact same thing. How? And Perinamarov also does it. Jeff Snyder and Perinamarov. How do the reviews relate to the 1 to C score? And now they're deleting the user reviews. I really wanted to do this more in depth, but since they're mentioning this, they're gonna let user reviews be. Yet now, knowing this just a few days later, they were deleting them. It's so ironic that these people and the hypocrisy. It's astonishing. Just Jesus.
Scores are one thing, but user scores to me are semi-useless. I mean, you go on IMDb and these user scores have like the most ridiculous movies as the top-ranked movies of all time. So I just don't know why people do this, number one, and why people put faith in or stock in user ratings. Like,
well, I'll say from a box office perspective, I do. I like to look at user ratings and kind of gauge the temperature. And I'm not saying my box office predictions are strictly reliant on user ratings on these sites, but it's a combination of the buzz on Twitter, the tracking numbers, the current sales on Fandango. It is all like pieces to a really big puzzle. And I think within probably the last 2 years, in that respect, the user rating has become less and less useful for me because certain movies are being unfairly targeted.
I think this is a really good opportunity to kind of curb the toxic fandom even a little bit. I believe I want to speak to one of them in particular. It's all of them. There's an aggression on the internet that will not stand, man. Like, well, I don't know why we're taking things in this direction, and I don't know why we need to be aggressive about things that are art. Art is subjective, and we're literally attacking things, and we're using a black and white scale for something that's literally colors. So it doesn't make sense for me to attack something so flagrantly, and this at least gives the art an opportunity to shine for itself, and that's what Rotten Tomatoes is supposed to represent, art shining for itself. So I agree, find your critic, find the person that you believe in. If someone has like-minded opinions with you, you're most likely going to want their take, not the universe's take. I love movies that are critically panned all the time. I think Rango is one of the best animated films, hard stop, ever. I defend SWAT all the time. Yeah, SWAT. I think King Arthur is one of the best movies of the last 5 years. I'm that guy. But my opinion is so weird and different from everyone else's. I hope there are others like me, and when I find them, I will listen. But I'm not going to listen to people that thought like X, Y, and Z was the best thing since sliced bread if I didn't. So it's shades of gray. It's lots of colors. Don't believe everything. And if you have the money, see it if you can. If not, $5 Tuesdays. But see these films. They're very important. Vote with your wallets.
The snobbery coming from Jeff Snyder is astonishing again. IMDb users can't rate films properly. Apparently, according to Jeff Snyder. Is this guy serious? So people are too uneducated to see. So if a movie is 8 out of 10, people can't rate it properly by putting in an 8 out of 10, apparently. Are you serious? And why do people put stock into user ratings? Because you Shills aren't reliable. You make this so goddamn easy in this video. You can't. You don't even have the inch of self-awareness when it comes to this. They're less useful. How? Because they pay and you get to go on these fancy events and greet the stars and get access. And how is this unfairly targeted? Because it's a whammon? It's a whammon movie? And again, this guy uses toxic fandom. Again, crap all over the users. The users that rate these movies on IMDb, who do this on their own dime, who watch these movies on their own dime, and they're the toxic ones. This is so jeez. And the aggression on the internet. Yeah, can you wonder why people are aggressive when you talk down to them like this, like they're goddamn children? They have to be re-educated, and they're toxic, and they're trolls, they're man babies, they're sexist, they're racist, they're Nazis. Can you not understand why people get angry? And when they voice the opinion that you don't like, they get censored. They get censored on Twitter. They get censored on YouTube. They get censored on Facebook. They get censored on Patreon. They probably get censored in your own goddamn comment section. Are you serious? Why there is an aggression? Why the hell shouldn't there be when voices are silenced on every outlet there is possible to voice something? When Rotten Tomatoes doesn't even give the opportunity for people to just press don't want to see the movie. Are you serious? Why we need to be aggressive? Because douchebags like you guys, I know it's an ad hom, but they're so self-righteous. Art is subjective. Me. Why do you care? Vote with your wallet. Are you serious right now? You don't even vote with your wallet yourselves. This is so pretentious. This is so hypocritical. You don't pay for movies yourself. You get access to all these movies. And everyone else has to decide, find your own critic. What if people don't want to read the critics? What if they want to read the user reviews? Because you can't be trusted. Have you thought about that? You self-righteous D-bags. Jesus Christ.
There's nothing less reliable to me than Twitter buzz, so.
That's
really?
Hard, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't even believe you guys. Sorry, you guys don't go see Captain Marvel, and I'll be like, yeah, I've heard that a zillion times before.
All right.
I'll make up my own mind.
I can't vouch for every single tweet that comes out of a first screening quite like that, but I mean, for what it's worth, I would never say anything in any of those tweets that I couldn't stand by on a subsequent viewing and in a full review, ever.
But that's an integrity that's very unique. You know what I mean? Like, I like to stand by that, and when I put something in writing, I know it's in writing, and I consider Twitter in writing. That's the same as a quill.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's done. It's forever. So to me, that's the way I do it. But there's also people like, do you guys know Ben Meckler? He's hilarious. Ben's a great writer. He sneaks in lines of absurd dialogue into his reviews, and they make it to press because that's how little people actually read the review. So there's no system that's going to work completely, but at least having a system that can quiet the aggression is a start.
Well, it's almost like there shouldn't be a system that works completely because art is subjective, and as you just said, we all have varying tastes. So the fact that there's so many people coming at it from different perspectives and having unique conversations about each of these things, there shouldn't be a black and white system that will always guarantee that if you follow this specific thing, you are going to get a movie that is precisely to your taste. It is kind of like, it's an exciting creative crapshoot, and that's what I love about this industry.
And isn't that why we exist? Like, we get to talk about the things we enjoy, we get to talk about the things that we're about, and then you, the viewer that agree with us most of the time, we give you our subjective and trying to be objective take on the thing. That's what the internet's for. It's sharing information and opinion and enlightening others. So find a person you believe in and believe in them, not in the masses. And like the narrower channels are, I think, the way to go.
So the Twitter buzz isn't reliable, which is quite ironic. John Campea used this to justify his opinion on Captain Marvel, and this guy claims integrity. They have integrity, but users who post reviews, they don't have integrity, apparently. It is quite ironic that these shills that look upon and want to censor people are the ones with integrity and applauding with this golf clap of superiority that everyone else doesn't have the integrity. And we have to quiet the aggression. So again, admitting to that you want to censor free speech. Now this is the important part. They say art is subjective. Why do they care then what other people think about the movie? You're so insecure about your own opinion. If you like Captain Marvel, go ahead. But don't try to act like you don't have special privileges and you're better than users, because that is what is so condescending and why people are so aggressive and angry towards you. They don't want a black and white system, so now they're contradicting themselves. Well, a simple system is just want to see, don't want to see, and that's not good enough. Okay, let's have user reviews. No. They're not trustworthy, and we have to delete them on Rotten Tomatoes because they're just unreliable. And it's just a contradiction in their own reasoning and argumentation. So, and at the end, I don't know if you caught that, but it sounded like a Freudian slip to me. They give their subjective opinion, but try to give it objectively. That is also a contradiction. I don't know if he was trying to say they are trying to be objective in some way, but it sounded very weird. So they're not even trying to say they're objective. That's not what he came to his mind. Because you can review movies objectively, but also have your own bias. See, Mulder does this pretty well. He breaks down movies with continuity within movies and what we already know within what's established within films. You can objectively break down movies that way. I can objectively objectively very bad movies or dislike very good movies that are objectively very good movies. That's part of the subjectivity. But to claim that subjectivity trumps the objective when it comes to films, that is what gets me. Anyways, this is part 1. I have another video lined up, which I haven't watched fully yet, but it really grinded my gears, and I want to make a part 2. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.